As we reached the second half of 2021, there were a handful of fall releases that looked near guaranteed to be major Oscar players. Belfast was an early favorite out of the festival circuit, same with The Power of the Dog, which many predicted that September was going to be the movie to beat. Dune was clearly going to be a contender, as were new films from Steven Spielberg and Paul Thomas Anderson. And then there was the significant double threat coming shortly from the legendary Ridley Scott. If there was ever a director overdue for a big win at the Academy Awards, it was him, the man behind the camera for all-timer genre classics like Alien and Blade Runner, as well as Oscar favorites like Gladiator and The Martian. He'd received Best Director nominations for Thelma and Louise, Gladiator, and Black Hawk Down, and what was exciting in 2021 was the prospect of him being nominated for, or even winning the Gold Trophy, for directing either the historical epic The Last Duel or the biographical crime drama House of Gucci. Both films looked on paper as being major awards contenders, with their lavish production value and sweeping canvases and extraordinary ensemble casts. It seemed probable, not possible, that Ridley Scott was going to be rewarded by the Academy finally for one of them. It was fun early on to predict which film was going to perform better with critics, audiences, and awards voters. The Last Duel was coming first in October, then House of Gucci in November. Many films had opened in October and went on to do well at the Oscars, like The Departed and Gravity. The Last Duel premiered at the Venice Film Festival to strong reviews, and so my anticipation grew. I mean, a script co-written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, who had won the original screenplay Oscar for Good Will Hunting, a cast that included those two, along with Adam Driver and Jodie Comer, plus a gorgeous, exciting trailer. Things seem to be looking up for The Last Duel, so what killed its momentum? The box office, my friends. Whoa boy, did this movie bomb hard in October 2021. 2 weeks before Halloween, audiences were much more interested in checking out the latest slasher sequel, Halloween Kills, than sitting through a dark and very serious 2.5-hour epic set in medieval France. Halloween Kills made $49 million that weekend, and The Last Duel made about $4 million. A total disaster for a film that cost $100 million before marketing. Here's what Scott said about the movie's failure with audiences on Mark Maron's WTF podcast.
I think what it boils down to, where we've got today, is the audiences who are brought up on these cell phones, the millennium, do not want to ever be taught anything, except unless it's you're told it on the cell phone.
Right. So despite lots of praise from critics, well-deserved I would say, The Last Duel is excellent, it ultimately crashed and burned so hard at the box office that any hope of awards love quickly faded. And in many ways, The Last Duel was the biggest Oscar fiasco of 2021, a well-reviewed historical drama from a respected director featuring a starry cast and not a single Academy Award nomination, even in the tech categories. Its most high-profile awards recognition, if you can call it that, was being named one of the year's top films by the National Board of Review, and, well, worst supporting actor for Ben Affleck at the Razzie Awards, the latter totally ridiculous because Affleck is great in the movie, which I talked about in a recent unfair Razzie nominations video. But yeah, The Last Duel wasn't going to be the awards favorite many people were hoping for, but Ridley Scott was by no means out of the game yet. He had a second big awards player coming just weeks later, and I think most of us, even earlier in 2021, kind of assumed this was going to be Scott's major Oscar player of the year. I'm talking, of course, about House of Gucci, starring Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, and Jared Leto, among many others. Released the long Thanksgiving weekend to solid box office and some good, if not necessarily great reviews, the movie went on to receive tons of nominations that award season, especially for Gaga and Leto, as well as a Best Cast nomination at SAG, and an Outstanding British Film of the Year nomination at BAFTA. House of Gucci didn't exactly overperform at the precursor ceremonies, but it appeared likely to receive Oscar nominations for, at minimum, Best Supporting Actor for Leto, Best Actress for Gaga, and Best Picture. But then, on Oscar nominations morning, the unthinkable happened. House of Gucci missed pretty much everywhere. No Leto, no Gaga, no picture. Scott made two massive films in 2021, and the only Academy Award nod that came out of either of them was Best Makeup and Hairstyling for House of Gucci. And the big question is why? What the hell happened with House of Gucci in the House of Oscar? My name is Brian Rowe, this is the Awards Contender, and in today's video, my 200th video for the channel, as Ridley Scott's newest epic Napoleon plays in theaters, I thought it would be fun to go back and talk about everything that went wrong with his 2021 all-star crime drama, House of Gucci, and why it was such an Oscar fiasco. First, let's talk about the project's beginning. Starting as early as 2006, Ridley Scott wanted to make a film about the downfall of the Gucci family dynasty. Angelina Jolie and Leonardo DiCaprio rumored to play Patricia and Maurizio in the earlier incarnation. At one point, Scott's daughter Jordan was going to make the movie, and then Wong Kar-wai took a stab at it. Finally, the project was officially announced in 2019, with Ridley Scott back in the director's chair and Lady Gaga on board to star. Gaga reportedly stayed in character for 18 months to play Patricia Reggiani, whose romance with Maurizio Gucci transforms into a fight for control of the famed Italian fashion brand.
It's time to take out the trash. Aldo and Paolo, they're poison. They're an embarrassment to this company, and everybody knows it.
Principal photography began in February 2021 after Scott completed his work on The Last Duel, and filming on House of Gucci wrapped the following May. With The Last Duel coming out in the fall, there might have been some talk in delaying House of Gucci to 2022, but no, both movies would be released mere weeks apart from each other, and the Thanksgiving release date for House of Gucci showed promise, along with its compelling trailer, riveting story, and incredible cast. So what are the main reasons Ridley Scott's House of Gucci had Oscar written all over it? Here are 5 of them. The first reason by far was indeed that amazing all-star cast, many of whom were not just previous Oscar nominees, but Oscar winners too. You had Al Pacino, who was a multiple nominee and previous winner for Scent of a Woman. You had Jeremy Irons, who won Best Actor for Reversal of Fortune. There was Jared Leto, who won Best Supporting Actor for Dallas Buyers Club. Salma Hayek, Academy Award nominee for Frida, appears in the film, as does Adam Driver, who received Oscar nominations for BlacKkKlansman and Marriage Story, and has in the last few years been everyone's go-to leading man in the movies. I would say the number one cast member in House of Gucci who made many of us believe Oscar was in this movie's future was the one and only Lady Gaga. In Bradley Cooper's A Star is Born, Gaga was nominated pretty much everywhere, winning in a tie with Glenn Close for Best Actress at Critics' Choice, and receiving her first Academy Award nod in the lead actress category. She was probably in third place there behind Olivia Colman and Glenn Close, but she was obviously in first place for Best Original Song, Gaga winning her Oscar along with 3 others for the song Shallow in A Star is Born.
It's not about winning, but what it's about is not giving up. If you have a dream, fight for it. There's a discipline for passion, and it's not about how many times you get rejected. It's about how many times you stand up and are brave and you keep on going. Thank you.
She was smart, I think, to not jump right into another movie right away. As we've seen, Lady Gaga is picky and immerses herself into every role she plays. And the same way we already have our Oscar feelers out for the 2024 sequel Joker, Folie à Deux, where Gaga portrays Harley Quinn opposite Joaquin Phoenix, Gaga's participation in House of Gucci made it seem likely the Academy would recognize her and her film once again. I mean, before the movie was even out, she was being asked about her Best Actress Oscar buzz, like in this interview with Michael Strahan.
The movie's not even out yet, but you're getting Best Actress Oscar buzz. So how does that feel?
It's wonderful to be in the Oscars conversation, and also by nature, I'm more competitive with myself than I am with other people, but I feel really blessed and very honored to be in this movie.
Yes, Best Actress very early on for Lady Gaga and House of Gucci was being discussed and predicted by many. The second reason was, of course, Ridley Scott, who for decades now has always brought Oscar-caliber work to his films, no matter the genre, no matter the budget. Given his 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Director, along with his 2000 drama Gladiator being such a big player at the 73rd ceremony, winning Best Actor for Russell Crowe and Best Picture, Oscar possibility follows pretty much everything he puts out. Really the only film he's made since Gladiator and Black Hawk Down that became a major contender was The Martian, which got into Best Actor for Matt Damon and Best Picture, but American Gangster showed signs of life too, as did All the Money in the World. Teaming Scott up with this incredible cast for House of Gucci seemed like a strong indication lots of awards would follow suit. The third reason was the true life storyline, which looked to be up the Academy's alley. Based on the trailers, the film appeared to have a healthy balance of comedy and drama, with a compelling story about a world-famous family many are fascinated by. If House of Gucci had been about a made-up family, let's say House of Rossi, the Oscar buzz for the movie wouldn't have been as great. The Academy has always been a sucker for real-life stories, and that goes for the acting categories and the Best Picture category. Belfast got a lot of awards momentum in part because it was inspired by writer-director Kenneth Branagh's real life, and a major reason Will Smith dominated Best Actor that season was that he played the real-life Richard Williams in King Richard. House of Gucci being about true events and real people was certainly going to help its awards chances. The fourth reason was that prime Thanksgiving weekend release date, which would keep the film fresh in Academy voters' minds. If House of Gucci had opened earlier, like say August or September, I would have doubted its chances. If the studio MGM had delayed it to spring 2022, we would have known the film had issues that might not be overcome, but bringing out the crime drama Thanksgiving weekend showed that MGM had faith in the movie, not only at the box office, but also for awards consideration. This is often a pretty good weekend to open for awards caliber titles, the future Oscar players Encanto and Licorice Pizza also coming out the same day as House of Gucci. Like, it's late enough in the year for your movie to be fully in consideration for awards going into January, but it's also early enough for the film to build in buzz and reputation. And the fifth reason was House of Gucci's strong box office, which boded well for its Oscar chances. As I say time and time again, it's not essential for a film to be a blockbuster hit to receive lots of awards attention, especially in the time of COVID when you had Coda win Best Picture with only $2 million earned theatrically. But healthy box office always helps when it comes to awards consideration, and while The Last Duel's Oscar campaign was dead on arrival after its disastrous opening weekend, House of Gucci showed promise with its third-place $22 million opening over Thanksgiving weekend, followed by pretty soft drop-offs in the beginning of December. House of Gucci was no blockbuster in the United States, making about $50 million overall, but it did earn $150 million worldwide, not bad for a nearly 3-hour crime drama. Ultimately, the box office was good enough for House of Gucci to play a large role in award season. And play a role it did at pretty much every ceremony it qualified for, but sadly, when it came to the Oscars, House of Gucci was most definitely a big fat fiasco. I would say two things hurt House of Gucci most in the end. The first was its mixed reviews from critics, many pointing to the movie's clear weaknesses. Jared Leto, sorry, had something in my throat. The film didn't need a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, but 61% as of this moment, and 59 on Metacritic. That's pretty low for an awards contender. Mick LaSalle gave an enthusiastic rave for House of Gucci in the San Francisco Chronicle, but Alonzo Duralde in The Wrap gave the movie a savage review, calling it frequently dull, and Johnny Oleksinski in the New York Post called it abysmal. Hell, my pals over at the Oscar Expert both hated it with a passion.
I'm going with a 3 out of 10 on this one. I wouldn't recommend this film to anybody, and I'm just going to give it a 2.
Enough critics were throwing shade at the film to put its Academy Award chances in doubt, especially with so many 2021 titles competing for the top slots. And then second, although House of Gucci did make it into Best Cast at SAG, which was a big get to be sure, it didn't do very well outside of the acting categories throughout award season. It needed to get into Best Motion Picture at the Golden Globes. It needed Best Picture at Critics' Choice. It needed more attention in the tech categories. It needed to actually win some things, but it almost never did. I would say the biggest prize House of Gucci won was Best Actress for Lady Gaga at the New York Film Critics Circle Awards, which left her in tears at the ceremony. So yeah, there was promise for the movie, House of Gucci getting a few high-profile nominations at the precursor ceremonies to stay relevant, and that was especially the case at SAG. If the film hadn't received any nominations there, then yes, pretty much all Oscar hopes would have been over. But getting into Best Actress and Best Supporting Actor and Best Cast did keep House of Gucci alive, at least for a while. I would say on Oscar nominations morning, Best Picture for House of Gucci was still on the bubble. it could have taken that 10th place slot that ultimately went to Nightmare Alley. And most people like myself were predicting Lady Gaga had a Best Actress nomination in the bag. As it turned out, she was the only person to not miss in the category that entire award season. She got in at the untelevised Golden Globes, she got in at Critics' Choice, she was nominated at SAG, where she gave the winner Jessica Chastain a standing ovation, and then famously, kind of bizarrely I would say, she was the only major contender that season who had been showing up at Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and SAG to make it into Best Actress. At BAFTA, most of her frequent competition snubbed for actors like Tessa Thompson, Renata Reinsve, and Joanna Scanlon. Gaga being recognized at BAFTA, while Jessica Chastain, Olivia Colman, and Nicole Kidman were ignored, seemed like a very good sign Gaga was coming for her second Best Actress Oscar nomination. It seemed, in a way, inevitable. But then, yeah, here was the final lineup.
Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter.
Penelope Cruz in Parallel Mothers.
Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos.
And Kristen Stewart in Spencer.
That was a major wow moment I don't think anyone expected. Penelope Cruz and Kristen Stewart both surprised at the Academy Awards, while Lady Gaga is snubbed. And there was no supporting actor for Jared Leto, no Best Picture, certainly no Best Director. Probably the biggest slap in the face to House of Gucci from the Academy was giving it that lone Best Makeup and Hairstyling nomination, which proved that they watched it but didn't see fit to recognize it anywhere else. The film ended up losing in this category to The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which also won the Best Actress trophy for Jessica Chastain. Lady Gaga was probably very hurt by that Oscar snub, but she was a good sport about it, still attending the BAFTA ceremony as a nominee, and still showing up at the 94th Academy Awards to present Best Picture alongside Liza Minnelli.
Now we're going to show you something else, and then
We're going to tell you who the nominees are right now.
Oh, good. I got you.
At the end of the day, House of Gucci being an Oscar fiasco wasn't much of a shock to me, because I personally was very disappointed in the movie, and I didn't really see what all the fuss was about. Despite a strong performance from Lady Gaga, I thought the tone was disjointed throughout. The film had a needlessly bloated 2-hour and 40-minute running time, and many performances were downright awful, especially Jared Leto, who is hamming it up for the back row of the theater in this thing. His Razzie Award win for Worst Supporting Actor was not surprising. Overall, I just didn't like this movie. I don't think it deserved to be an Oscar contender. I mean, here we are, 2 years later, and to be perfectly honest, what I remember most about this movie is the jackhammer scene. And trust me, if you've watched House of Gucci, you know exactly the scene I'm talking about. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of Ridley Scott's House of Gucci. Did you love it? Did you hate it? And how many Oscar nominations did you want it to receive? We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.